The rain was falling hard that night. Big drops hit the glass windows of a huge mansion. Inside that house lived one of the richest men in the city. People knew his name. People feared his power. He had money, respect, and control. But that night, none of it mattered. The millionaire stood near the window, holding a glass of water with shaking hands. His eyes were red. He was not angry. He was broken. Behind him, on a large soft bed, sat his young son. The boy was only 7 years old. He could not hear. He was born deaf. The room was full of expensive machines, medical files, and reports. Doctors from many countries had visited this house. Some promised hope. Others stayed silent. In the end, all of them said the same thing: there is no cure. The boy looked at his father and smiled softly. He did not know why his father's eyes were full of tears. He could not hear the storm outside. He could not hear the sound of the rain. He lived in complete silence. The millionaire walked toward his son and sat beside him. He touched the boy's head and forced a smile. This man had bought everything in life: big cars, big houses, private planes. But he could not buy one small thing for his son. Sound across the city. Far away from that warm room, another boy was fighting the same rain. This boy had no house, no bed. No father. He was black. He was thin. His clothes were old and torn. His shoes had holes. He slept near an empty shop, using cardboard to block the cold wind. People called him homeless. Most people did not even look at him. That night, he hugged his knees and tried to stay warm. His stomach hurt from hunger. He had eaten nothing since morning. Cars passed by fast. Lights flashed. People walked past him without stopping. To the world, he was invisible. But inside him, something was different. The homeless boy closed his eyes. He remembered his grandmother. She used to hold his hands and say strange words. "You are special," she once told him. "Never forget what I teach you." The boy did not fully understand her words back then. After she died, his life fell apart. He ended up on the streets, alone. The rain became heavier. Suddenly, the boy felt something strange. A sharp feeling inside his chest. He opened his eyes and looked around. Nothing. Then he felt it again, like a pull. Like someone far away was calling him. Not with sound, but with pain. The boy stood up slowly. His body was tired, but his heart was racing. He did not know why, but his feet started moving. At the same time, inside the mansion, the deaf child suddenly dropped his toy. The millionaire noticed something strange. His son was staring at the door. Very focused. The boy touched his chest and looked confused. He had never felt this before. A small vibration, a weak signal. Something new. The millionaire called the nurse, but the child did not look away. Back on the streets, the homeless boy walked through the rain. People stared at him. Some shouted at him to move away. He did not stop. That pull inside him became stronger. He walked toward the rich area of the city. Tall gates, big houses, security cameras. A place he had never been before. Water dripped from his hair. His hands were shaking. "Why am I here?" he whispered to himself. Inside the mansion, the millionaire sat beside his son again. He wiped his tears and held the boy's hands. "I am sorry," he whispered, even though his son could not hear. Outside the gate, the homeless boy stopped. His heart was beating fast. The pull stopped. He looked at the big house in front of him. For some reason, he felt sure. Whatever he felt, it was coming from here. He took one small step forward. Security lights turned on. Guards noticed him. Inside the house, the deaf child suddenly smiled. A real smile. The millionaire froze. Something was happening. Something no doctor could explain. And somewhere between a broken rich man and a forgotten homeless boy, an impossible story had just begun. Morning came slowly. The rain stopped, but the city was still cold and gray. Water stood on the roads like broken mirrors. The homeless boy woke up near the tall gate. His clothes were wet. His back hurt from sleeping on hard ground. He did not know how he ended up there. All he remembered was the strong feeling inside his chest. That strange pull had brought him to this place. Now standing in front of the big house, he felt small and afraid. He looked at the gate again. Behind it was a world he had never touched. Green grass, clean paths, big walls. Everything looked quiet and safe. This world was not made for boys like him. A security guard came closer. His face was hard. His eyes were cold. "Why are you here?" The guard asked. The homeless boy opened his mouth, but no words came out. He did not know the answer. He only pointed at the house. The guard frowned. "Go away. This is private property." The boy turned around slowly and walked away. He did not fight. He did not shout. He was used to being pushed away, but inside him, the feeling did not leave. Far inside the mansion, the millionaire's house was waking up too. Cleaners moved quietly. Nurses spoke in soft voices. Doctors checked machines and files again and again. The deaf child sat at a small table with breakfast in front of him. He did not touch the food. He kept looking at the door. His father noticed it. The millionaire had not slept all night. His eyes were tired, but his mind was awake. He remembered the strange smile his son had shown the night before. That smile did not make sense. Doctor said nothing had changed. But a father's heart feels things before the mind understands them. The millionaire walked to his son and waved his hand gently in front of the boy's eyes. The boy looked at him, then looked away, then looked back at the door. He touched his chest again. The same place. Outside, the homeless boy sat on the footpath, not far from the mansion. He watched rich cars go in and out. He felt hungry again. Very hungry. He checked his pocket. Nothing. Still. He could not leave this area. Every time he tried to walk away, his chest felt heavy. Like something was pulling him back. He remembered his grandmother's voice again. "When the feeling comes," she said, "do not run from it." The boy closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Across the wall, the deaf child suddenly stood up from his chair. The nurse rushed toward him, worried he might fall. But the boy walked straight toward the window. He placed his hand on the glass. The millionaire followed. Confused, the child looked outside, searching for something he could not name. Their eyes met for the first time. Glass and walls stood between them. The homeless boy froze. He felt it. Strong. Clear. The pull was no longer a question. It was an answer. The child inside pressed his palm to the glass. The boy outside raised his hand slowly. They did not know each other. They did not speak, but in that moment, something passed between them. Pain. Loneliness. Hope. The nurse gasped. The millionaire's breath stopped. The deaf child smiled again, not a small smile. A wide one. The millionaire had never seen that smile before. He looked outside and saw the homeless boy standing there, wet, thin, and shaking. Anger filled his heart. "Who let that boy come here?" he shouted. Guards rushed in. They moved fast. The homeless boy stepped back, fear in his eyes. Before the guards could reach him, the deaf child did something strange. He knocked on the glass. Not once. Twice. The sound was soft. But it was real. The room went silent. The millionaire's heart stopped. He turned slowly toward his son. The child knocked again. Everyone froze. Doctors rushed forward. Nurses covered their mouths. The sound was weak, but it was sound. Outside, the homeless boy felt tears run down his face. He did not know why. He only knew this was the reason he came. Guards grabbed the homeless boy's arms. "Take him away," someone shouted. The boy did not fight. He only looked at the child one last time. The deaf child pressed his face to the glass and watched him go. The smile faded. The knocking stopped. Inside the mansion, questions filled the air. Outside, the homeless boy was pushed back into the streets. But both worlds had already touched. And once that happens, nothing ever stays the same. The homeless boy did not stop running until his legs burned. When he finally slowed down, he found himself under a broken streetlight. His chest was rising fast. His hands were shaking. Rainwater dripped from his hair onto the ground. He leaned against a wall and closed his eyes. The boy inside. The glass house. The knock. The sound. That moment kept repeating in his mind. I did not imagine it, he whispered. For years, people told him he was nothing. Just another street kid. Just another problem. But what he felt today was real. Too real. He slid down and sat on the cold ground. Slowly, memories came back. Not the streets, not the hunger, but his grandmother. She used to live in a small house far away from the city. She was old, but her eyes were sharp. At night, she would light a candle and ask him to sit beside her. Listen carefully, she would say. He always laughed. But Grandma, you know I listen. She would smile. Not with ears, with heart. She taught him strange things. How to breathe slowly. How to place his hands. How to feel the space around him. She told him sound was not only noise. Sound was energy, movement, life. He never told anyone. When he tried once, people laughed. After his grandmother died, the house was taken away. He was pushed into the streets. Survival became everything. The lessons faded, but never disappeared, until, now. The boy opened his eyes. That pull he felt near the mansion was the same feeling he felt during those lessons. Strong, focused, alive. He stood up slowly, across the city. Inside the mansion, the millionaire was not calm either. Doctors talked fast. Machines beeped. Nurses whispered, "This is not possible," one doctor said. "Maybe coincidence," said another. The millionaire said nothing. He sat alone in a chair, staring at his hands. His son was sleeping now. Peacefully. Too peacefully. The sound of that knock still echoed in his head, soft, weak, but real. He stood up and walked toward the window. Outside, the streets were empty, but he felt something strange, like something important had been taken away. Back under the streetlight, the homeless boy made a decision. He would go back. Not because he wanted money. Not because he wanted help, but because something inside him said that boy needed him. The next day, the sun came out. The homeless boy washed his face in a public bathroom. He fixed his torn shirt as best as he could. He looked at himself in the mirror. He did not look special, but he felt different. He walked back toward the rich area. This time, the guard stopped him quickly. "No," one guard said. "You are not allowed here." "I just need 1 minute," the boy said quietly. The guard laughed. "You again? Go away." The boy lowered his head and stepped back. Inside the mansion, the deaf child woke up. He looked around. The smile was gone. He felt empty. He walked toward the window. Again, the millionaire watched his son carefully. When the child touched the glass, the millionaire's heart dropped. He followed his son's eyes and saw the homeless boy standing far away. Something inside the millionaire cracked. "Wait," he said suddenly. The guards turned. The millionaire walked forward, slow and careful. The homeless boy froze. He expected shouting. He expected anger. But the millionaire only asked one question. "Why did you come back?" The boy swallowed. "I do not know," he said honestly. "I only know he feels something." The millionaire looked at his son. The child nodded slowly. The millionaire took a deep breath. 5 minutes, he said. The guard stepped aside. Inside a small room, the homeless boy stood shaking. He had never been inside such a place. The millionaire crossed his arms. Doctors watched closely. "What do you think you can do?" the millionaire asked. The boy closed his eyes. "I do not think," he said. "I feel." He remembered his grandmother's words. He placed his hand slowly near the child. Not touching. Just close. The room became quiet. Too quiet. The child's breathing changed. Everyone held their breath. The millionaire felt fear. If this was fake. If this was hope again. Suddenly, the child reacted. His fingers moved. His eyes widened. A tear rolled down his face. The homeless boy opened his eyes. Shocked. The doctor stepped forward. The millionaire's heart was pounding. And in that silent room, one truth became clear. This was no coincidence. This was only the beginning. The room was silent. Too silent. Everyone stood still, like time had stopped. The homeless boy's hands were still in the air. The deaf child's eyes were wide open, filled with tears. No one spoke. Then the silence broke. One of the doctors cleared his throat. "This means nothing," he said quickly. "Children move all the time." Another doctor nodded. "Yes, we should not jump to conclusions." The millionaire's face changed. Hope turned into fear. Fear turned into anger. He had heard false hope before. Too many times. He could not let himself believe again. He stepped back and looked at the homeless boy. Really looked at him. Dirty clothes. Thin body. Bare feet. "This is nonsense," the millionaire said. His voice was cold. "You are playing with my son's life." The homeless boy's hands dropped slowly. "I did not mean," he started. "Enough," the millionaire said. "Get him out." The guards moved forward. The homeless boy's heart dropped. He did not fight. He did not cry. He had lived this moment many times before. One guard grabbed his arm. "Please," the boy said softly. "Just one more minute." The millionaire turned away. "I said get him out." The guards pulled the boy toward the door. As he passed the deaf child, the boy looked at him one last time. The child reached out. His small hand grabbed the homeless boy's sleeve. The room froze again. The millionaire turned around. The child's grip was tight. He would not let go. The millionaire felt pain in his chest, but the doctors stepped in. "Fast. He is confused," one doctor said. "This is dangerous." The guards pulled harder. The child cried. A sound, not a word, but a sound. Everyone heard it. The room exploded into noise. The millionaire shouted, "Stop!" The guards froze. The homeless boy fell to his knees. Shaking. The child's chest moved up and down fast. Doctors rushed in again. But this time, the millionaire did not look at them. He looked at the homeless boy. Fear was written on the boy's face. Not fear for himself, but fear for the child. "Get him out now," the head doctor said sharply. The millionaire's heart was breaking. He wanted to believe, but belief had hurt him before. Guards took the homeless boy outside. This time, not gently. They pushed him through the gate. People passing by stared. Some laughed. Some shook their heads. "Dirty street kid," someone said. The homeless boy fell on the pavement. His hands scraped against the ground. Blood appeared. He did not cry. He just sat there. The gate closed. Loud. Final. Inside the mansion, the deaf child screamed silently. Tears ran down his face. The millionaire held him tight. "I am sorry," he whispered again and again. Doctors gave the child medicine to calm him. The millionaire stood in the hallway, alone. His hands were shaking. His chest hurt. What if I was wrong? He thought. Outside the gate, the homeless boy stood up slowly. People walked past him like nothing happened. A man pushed him aside. A woman covered her bag. The boy walked until he reached an empty bus stop. He sat there and stared at the road. The feeling inside his chest was gone. Only pain remained. He remembered his grandmother's voice again. "Some doors close," she once said. "Not because you failed, but because the world is blind." Tears rolled down his face. Not for himself, for the child. for the silence he had. Almost broken. Night came again. Inside the mansion, the millionaire could not sleep. His son lay in bed, breathing slowly. The machines were quiet. Too quiet. The millionaire walked to the window. Far away, he saw a small figure sitting under a broken street light. Something inside him twisted. A deep regret. What if? He whispered. At that moment, the deaf child moved. He opened his eyes. He looked at his father, and slowly, very slowly, he moved his lips. No sound came out, but the word was clear. Boy. The millionaire fell to his knees. Tears poured from his eyes. Outside, under the streetlight, the homeless boy felt something again. Weak. But alive. The impossible was not over. Night covered the city like a heavy blanket. Inside the mansion, lights were still on. Doctors had left, but their words stayed behind. Be careful. Do not expect too much. The millionaire sat alone in a chair near his son's bed. He had not moved for hours. His son was awake. Quiet. Watching. The boy's eyes followed every small movement. His ears could not hear the soft sound of machines, but his body felt something different now. The silence around him did not feel empty anymore. The millionaire leaned forward. Did you really say that word? He whispered, knowing his son could not hear him. The child looked at his father's lips. Then he slowly touched his own mouth. Outside, under the broken streetlight, the homeless boy was trying to sleep. His body was tired, but his mind would not rest. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the child's face behind the glass. I am sorry, he whispered into the dark. He thought it was over, but the feeling returned, stronger than before. It hit him suddenly. Like a wave, he sat up fast. His chest burned. His hands felt warm. This time, there was no doubt. He stood up. The city felt quiet. Too quiet. His feet started moving on their own. Inside the mansion, the deaf child suddenly sat up in bed. The nurse rushed toward him, afraid he might fall. But the child pushed her hand away. He pointed at the door. The millionaire stood up at once. The child's breathing changed. His face showed urgency. Something was coming. Outside the gate, the homeless boy arrived again. Guards noticed him and stepped forward. Not you again, one guard said, before they could grab him. The front door opened. The millionaire walked out. His face was pale. His voice was low. Let him come. The guards froze. The homeless boy could not believe his eyes. He walked inside slowly. This time, no one pushed him. The room felt heavy with fear and hope. Doctors were called again. The homeless boy stood in front of the deaf child. The child's eyes locked onto him. Tears filled them. Millionaire's hands were shaking. If this hurts him, he warned. The boy shook his head. Gently, I will stop, he said. He closed his eyes. He remembered his grandmother's voice. Breathe. Feel. Do not force. He raised his hands. Again. Slow. Careful. The room fell into deep silence. The homeless boy breathed in, then out. The deaf child's body relaxed. His fingers moved. The machines changed rhythm. Doctor stepped closer. Suddenly, a sound escaped the child's mouth. A soft breath. Not crying. Not screaming. A sound shaped like a voice. The millionaire's heart stopped. The boy's lips moved again, this time clearer. The doctor dropped his pen. The nurse covered her mouth. The millionaire fell forward. Tears hit the floor. The homeless boy opened his eyes, shocked by his own tears. The child's face twisted in confusion, then joy. He touched his ears. He made the sound. Again. Louder. The room broke. Doctors shouted orders. Machines beeped fast. People cried, but the sound did not stop. The child laughed. A real laugh. Sound filled the room. For the first time, the millionaire held his son tightly. He could not speak, could not breathe. Years of silence shattered in seconds. The homeless boy stepped back. Slowly. His legs felt weak. He did not smile. He only watched. The impossible had happened, but deep inside, he knew this was not the end. Suddenly, the head doctor turned. "This defies everything we know," he said. "We need tests now." The millionaire looked at the homeless boy. His eyes were full of gratitude and fear. "What are you?" he whispered. The boy shook his head. "I am nothing special," he said softly. "I just listen." Outside, dawn began to break. Light touched the windows. Inside that room, life had changed forever. But with miracles come consequences. And the world was about to react. Morning light filled the hospital room. Doctors moved quickly, checking screens, testing machines, whispering to each other with serious faces. The deaf child sat on the bed, holding his father's hand tightly. His eyes were wide, curious, alive. He was hearing, not perfectly, not clearly, but enough to change everything. The millionaire stood beside him, afraid to move, afraid to speak. Every small sound felt like a miracle. The beep of a machine. Footsteps in the hall. A nurse clearing her throat. Tears kept falling from his eyes. For 7 years, silence had ruled his son's life. Now, sound had entered like light through a broken wall. Across the room, the homeless boy stood quietly near the door. He felt out of place. Doctors barely looked at him now. Their attention was on the child, on science, on answers. One doctor finally turned. "Who are you?" he asked, not unkindly. The boy hesitated. "I don't know," he said honestly. The doctor frowned. "You don't know?" The boy shook his head. "I was taught some things long ago." The millionaire stepped forward. His voice broke as he spoke. "Why didn't you tell us before?" he asked. The boy looked down at his hands. "People don't listen to boys like me," he said softly. The words hit the room like a slap. No one replied. The millionaire felt shame burn inside him. He remembered how easily he had ordered the guards, how quickly he had chosen fear over hope. "I judged you," the millionaire said quietly. "I was wrong." The boy looked up, surprised. Before he could answer, the child tugged on his father's sleeve. The millionaire turned. "What is it?" he asked gently. The boy looked at the homeless boy. He pointed. Then, slowly, carefully, he spoke. "Friend." The room froze. That single word carried more power than all the machines. The millionaire dropped to his knees again. Doctors stepped back. No science could explain this moment. The millionaire stood up and walked toward the homeless boy. He removed his expensive jacket and gently placed it around the boy's shoulders. "You saved my son," he said. "I can never repay that." The boy shook his head. "I didn't save him," he replied. "He was already strong." The millionaire swallowed hard. News spread fast. Very fast. By afternoon, reporters stood outside the hospital. Cameras flashed. Headlines appeared online. "Deaf child hears for first time. Mystery boy, INV security tightened. Inside, pressure grew. Government doctors arrived. Special teams asked questions. They wanted answers, proof, control. One man in a suit pulled the millionaire aside. "This boy is a risk," he said. "People will use him. This must be handled quietly." The millionaire looked at the homeless boy sitting beside his son, helping him smile. "No," the millionaire said firmly. "He is not a secret. He is a human being." Later that night, the millionaire sat alone with the boy. "What happened to your family?" he asked gently. The boy's eyes darkened. He spoke slowly. "My parents died. My grandmother raised me. She knew things. When she died, I had no one." The millionaire listened in silence. "For years," the boy continued, "I asked for help. People walked past me. They saw dirt, not a person. The millionaire felt every word like a knife. The next day, the millionaire made a decision, a public one. He stood before cameras. "This boy," he said, placing a hand on the homeless boy's shoulder, "was homeless because we failed him, not because he was weak." The crowd went quiet. "I was rich," the millionaire continued, "and still blind." He announced a foundation, a place for children forgotten by the system. Deaf children, homeless children, children no one listens to. The boy tried to step back. "This is too much," he whispered. The millionaire smiled through tears. "No," he said. "This is justice." Later, in a quiet room, the boy packed the few things he owned. The millionaire knocked. "You don't have to leave," he said softly. "You belong here, if you want." The boy looked at the child playing on the bed, laughing at sounds he was learning, for the first time in years. The boy felt safe. "I'll stay," he said. Outside, the world argued. Some believed, some doubted, some hated. But inside that room, something real had already won. Truth, compassion, and a justice born not from power, but from listening. The city woke up to a different kind of morning. News screens showed the same image again and again. A rich man standing beside a small black boy. A child who was once deaf, now smiling. The story spread fast, not because it was beautiful, but because it felt impossible. People argued online. Some called it a miracle. Some called it fake. Some called the homeless boy lucky. But inside the mansion, life was moving quietly forward. The deaf child sat at the table with his father and the boy everyone now talked about. He listened carefully to every sound. A spoon touching a plate. Water being poured into a glass. A bird outside the window. Each sound made his eyes light up. He laughed often. That laugh still surprised everyone. The homeless boy sat near him, patient and calm. He helped the child stay relaxed. He taught him how to breathe slowly when sounds felt too loud. No one asked him to do this. He just did. The millionaire watched them from a distance. For the first time in his life, he felt rich in a different way. One afternoon, the millionaire called the boy into his office. Sunlight filled the room. Walls were covered with awards and photos. Things that once mattered a lot. "Sit," the millionaire said gently. The boy sat on the edge of the chair. "I want you to go to school," the millionaire said. "I want you to have a home, a future." The boy nodded slowly. "But I have one condition," the millionaire added. The boy looked up, worried. "I don't want you to forget who you are," the millionaire said. "And I don't want you to forget the streets." The boy thought for a moment. "I won't," he said. "They made me." Weeks passed. The child's hearing improved little by little. Doctors were careful with their words now. They no longer said impossible. They said unexplained. The foundation opened its doors. Children arrived. Some could not hear. Some had no homes. Some had both problems. The homeless boy walked among them. He was no longer homeless, but he still listened. One day, a reporter asked him a question. "Do you feel proud?" She asked. The boy shook his head. "I feel responsible," he replied. The video went viral. The millionaire's old friends did not all stay. Some said he was wasting money. Some said he was chasing attention. The millionaire let them go. Power without purpose meant nothing to him now. One evening, the child sat beside the boy on the floor. He looked serious. He placed his hand on the boy's arm. "Brother," he said. The word was clear, strong. The boy smiled, tears filling his eyes. That night, the millionaire stood on the balcony alone. City lights blinked below him. He remembered the night he almost sent the boy away forever. Fear had almost stolen a miracle. He whispered into the night, "Thank you." Years later, the story changed lives. The boy grew into a young man. He studied. He spoke. He helped children who felt broken. He never wore expensive clothes. He never forgot hunger. The deaf child grew up too. He learned music. Not perfectly, but enough to feel it. He once told his brother, "I don't remember silence anymore." On the wall of the foundation hung one simple sentence: "Listen before you judge." People read it. Some understood, some didn't. But for one family, and many children after them, it was enough. The story did not end with money. It ended with meaning. And somewhere, a boy who was once ignored by the world proved one powerful truth: miracles don't always come from power. Sometimes, they come from the people we refuse to see.